Good day, everyone. Hello to all the students who are surely joining in to today's live IELTS streaming. So just before we get going here, I want to double check and make sure that we have good audio and video. So just going to wait a couple seconds for some students to hop into class. Hi, Govinder. Hi, Mosa, Mohammed, Roshni, Emil. Okay, lots of people joining in. Just a quick check, girls and guys. Can you hear me? Can you see the board behind me? Okay, so can you see the board, and can you see or can you hear my voice clearly? Ilham says yes, you can. Okay, and I can see myself on the screen as well, so we're looking good. All right, so we are doing a task 2 today, example with some explanation. Just going to jump up here for one moment. I'll teach you some strategies today as well, of course, on how to do task 2. You can always check the question in the stream description. So for those of you who are jumping into the lesson, if you have a look at the stream description, you can see the task 2 question that we will use today for example and for strategy. Okay? All right, so again, just a quick reminder for those people who are new. The materials are coming from gieltshelp.com for general IELTS and from aehelp.com for academic IELTS. So you can see those website URLs up here. I wrote them up. Make sure to check us out there. You can join the free course or the full course to get the most help for your IELTS exam. Please use coupon code LIVE20 for a 20% discount when you buy the full course. If you have Super Chat, it's the button that's beside the emoji there, the little dollar sign or money sign. You can send us a donation if you like these classes. We appreciate that. Somebody sent us a couple of pounds yesterday. That was great. A lot of small goes a long way, so it helps to keep these live classes going. If you're looking for a practice speaking interview with me or with another native English professional, please send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com. My name is Adrian, and I am broadcasting to you live today from beautiful Budapest, Hungary. We have a very nice day here today. It's sunny and warm. We also have writing and editing help on our website. So if you're not sure about your IELTS Task 1 or Task 2 and you want to see where you're making mistakes, please send us your essays for editing. It's 6 cents US per word. That means that if you have a 150-word Task 1, it's $9. It's $15 for a 250-word Task 2. Okay, it's a really good idea. Invest a little bit of money to get a lot of help and to make sure that you don't have to sit the IELTS exam again. Adrian, A-D-R-I-A-N, @aehelp.com. If you had trouble sending me an email, Syed, then you can also log into your My Student account at AEhelp or GL's Help, and there's a little contact button at the top. I'll show you that in a second here. And you can send us emails that way also. So if you're looking at your academic IELTS website for academic IELTS help, you log in at the top, okay? And I want to show you some writing help that you can get there. So you log into your My Student account. Kaleem, your question, when do I start general IELTS? I do general IELTS training at least once a week for the reading section, and I'll do some task 1s as well. But remember, Kaleem, that task 2 is pretty much the same for academic and general IELTS. So anybody who's watching today, if you're a general IELTS student, you're in the right place, because task 2 questions in the writing section are basically the same for academic IELTS and for general IELTS. So you use the same steps and the same strategy, okay? All right, now, when you join our course, and you can join the free course or you can join the full course, if you want to just try it for free before you decide that you want to get the full course, just click on that green button in your on your homepage there, on the green one for general IELTS or the blue one for academic, click on the try demo, and you can get a trial or a demo version of our course. Now, the free version of our course also has a lot of great material for you. So if you go to the full online course, which is the first tab in your My Student account, then you can go down to the bottom here, and you have this in your free course and in your full course. It's quite small, so you can't really see it here, but when you're on your computer, you'll clearly see that. So just after the practice speaking live, there's a bonus writing and grammar lesson. Okay, open that up, and again, if you're a full course user, make sure you use this as well. So make sure that you open up this part of your program. And then it goes through step by step on how to write sentences, how to write paragraphs, and of course, it then goes through how to write essays. So make sure that you're checking that out. Okay, so step by step, it's going to tell you about the sentences, and it will show you grammar, and it will also teach you vocabulary, and then it will go to the actual essay writing, okay? And it shows you the structure of how to write a solid essay. So make sure that you check that out, okay? All right. So without further ado, let's get into IELTS Task 2. Before I start giving the example and giving you strategies, does anybody have any questions about IELTS Task 2? So I'll give you a minute here to ask me some questions. No, the bonus writing course, Syed, is in the free course and it's in the full course as well, okay? So be sure to check it out. Doesn't matter if you're in the trial version or if it's in the full version. We give that for free because we want students to learn how to write. And of course, through that, we encourage you to send us your essays for editing, okay? So anybody have any questions about Task 2 before I get really into it? I'll give you a second here. I know some students always have something that's been bothering them and they're not sure about it. So here's your chance to ask me any question. Prabesh, you're asking about the listening and reading sections. Can you write capital letters? Yes, the best way to make sure that you don't make a mistake with capitalization is write all your answers in capital letters, okay? If you're preparing yourself, Mohammed, for the IELTS, you need to first check your level. So do a practice test, see what's your level, and then you can get a more clear idea of how much time you need to invest into preparing. Now, make sure that you remember studying is not just about how much you study, but it's how you study, so the effectiveness of your studying. Okay, Heike, you're asking me what type of essay is more common for Task 2. There is no absolute answer for that. Task 2 can be many different kinds of questions. It is a persuasive first-person essay usually, but within that you can get an advantages, disadvantages, choose one side, discuss both sides, so you can get different kinds of questions, okay? Krishna, absolutely you want to use specific examples in Task 2 to get a better score. I'll show you that today. General examples are not as effective, of course, because they're not as clear for the reader, all right? Sarvar, to get a score of 8, so you're asking me how can I get a score of 8? Score of 8 means that you're basically fluent in English, you make very, very few mistakes in grammar or language use. It's okay if you have an accent, but you have a vocabulary base of, let's say, 5,000 words, and you know all forms of English grammar, adjective, clause, present perfect, past perfect, passive, active, and you can use them all effectively, okay? That's the minimum to be able to get a level 8. Giffen, if you write in capital letters, it can take longer, and sometimes it's easier to make spelling mistakes when you're writing all in capital letters. So you need to make sure that you practice that at home before you sit the IELTS exam, okay? Mohammed 775, grammar is spelled Grammar, okay? And grammar is an important part of the speaking as well as the writing, okay? Zachariah, I'm not sure what SWOT analysis is, so you'll have to ask that or find that information out elsewhere. Manpreet, very easy to create a student account on our website. You simply go to the General IELTS website. If you're learning General IELTS, if you're learning academic, go there. You click on the Join Now for a full course, or if you just want to try the demo, then you click on that green button, and then I'm already logged in, but it will give you a space here for your email and your password, and then you can create your account. It will send you an email with your acceptance afterwards, okay? Indigo, again, today is task 2, so what I'm teaching you today will be good for the general and for the academic task 2 writing question, okay? Amira, that's a really good question. How can you increase your ideas in task 2? There are several steps for that. I'm going to show you some of that with today's example, but basically you need to use visualization, critical thinking, and you need to practice up to down processing and down to up processing. It means that you need to think about big to small, and you need to think small to big ideas. I'll show you that in a couple of minutes here with our example, okay? Manpreet, IELTS is usually valid for 2 years. So if you sit the IELTS exam and you get a score, for most places, that will be valid for 2 years. After 2 years, you usually need to do the IELTS exam again. Now, having said that, you can check with your place of application, the university or the country, if they will accept it for longer. Sometimes there are exceptions, but usually it's 2 years. Okay? Yes, Bina, task 2 is very often pretty much the same for general and for academic. Okay. Pritesh, the cost of our course, you'll find that when you click on that join full course, it's different in different countries. If your country has a low income level, like for example India or the Philippines, it's $19 US. If your country has a mid-level income, then it's $39 US, like for example Hungary. Or if you live in a country with a high level of income like the United Kingdom, USA, Canada, Australia, then it's $59. So we use what's called geo-pricing. And the reason we do that is so that you can, we can make it accessible for more students around the world while staying viable as a business. Marina, thank you so much for sending us some rubles from Russia. I appreciate that super chat donation. That's great. Thank you so much, and it's good to see you in class. So if you guys are looking at the chat right now, you can see that Marina Mint just made a super chat donation. She often joins these classes. I guess you find it useful, which I'm happy about. And that's one way that you can support us is by using super chat in your country. And of course, if you have an important question, that's one way that you can make it very, very prominent in the chat. So I can always catch those ones because they're big, bright, and they stay up longer. Sayed, the practice test 2 book is in your My Student page, okay? So if you go to your My Student page in the academic, you click on the curriculum book, student workbook, and study plan, and then you get all those PDFs. So you can find here near the bottom, these two will be practice test book 1, practice test book 2. That's a new one. You click on that, and then when you click on that, it will start downloading that book, and you can see that I have it downloading here. I just clicked on it, and then you use your email to open that up. The book is included with the full course. We don't sell our course piece by piece. It's not effective. But basically the cost of our course, so if you're using our full course, the cost of our full course is cheaper than 1 Cambridge test book. And you actually get 6 full practice exams with us and with Cambridge you only get 4. So our full course with all of the 40 videos and the practice test books, 6 exams, plus the interactive course is actually cheaper than 1 Cambridge book. So we are very, very competitive that way. Okay, girls and guys, I'll give you chances to ask me questions at the end as well. Of course, you can ask me questions throughout the lesson. Don't be shy. I will answer them as best as I can. I've been teaching IELTS now for roughly 13 years, so I do have quite a bit of experience with it. My major in university was psychology, so I look at the psychology of IELTS and how the test is made and how students use their brains to study for it, so I have a bit of insight there. So if you have some questions, please ask. Other students are probably curious also. And now let's jump back to our task 2 question and get right into the steps that you need to take and the example for this, okay? All right, so girls and guys, here is the question behind me. You are now nearing the end of the sitting portion of the IELTS exam for the paper part of the test. Of course, the speaking is usually done before or after the exam, sometimes on the same day, sometimes one day before or one day after. It depends on the scheduling. But anyway, you're sitting in the IELTS exam. You had a good sleep the night before. You're full of energy. You're relaxed. You're keeping your stress level down. You've done an amazing job in the listening section. You've done an amazing job in the reading section. And now you've completed your writing task 1. Please always do your writing task 1 first. That's important. Don't do task 2 first. Do task 1 first. It's worth 1/3 of your mark. So task 1 is about 30% of the writing mark. So if you use task 1 to kind of warm up and you make a couple of mistakes, you don't lose as many points from your score as if you try to do task 2 first and then you're still a bit rusty and you make more mistakes, then you lose more marks because task 2 is worth about 65% of your mark, okay? Just had a question there if you can buy the program in the Ukraine. Absolutely. I believe Ukraine will be $19. You'll have to check. But yeah, you can buy it almost in any country around the world that accepts either PayPal or authorized.net gateways, okay? And you can use any major credit card, of course. All right, so you're sitting in the exam. You've done a good job so far. You have another 40 minutes to go in the writing. You're feeling confident, you get to the question and you have a look. You read the question. Task 2, write about the following topic. Some companies donate money to the arts, while others prefer to give money for helping the environment. Which do you think is better and why? Okay. Now make sure when I say sentences and words, especially if these are new words for you, don't be shy. Just repeat after me. It helps your listening and your speaking skills to improve. By the way, for those of you who are curious, my accent is West Coast Canadian. I'm originally from beautiful Vancouver Island, Victoria, which is very close to Vancouver. It's a 1.5-hour ferry ride from there. All right, so this is our question, and then, of course, as usual, it will say in IELTS, give reasons for your answers and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. Write at least, okay? So notice this important word here, write at least 250 words. You should spend no more than 40 minutes on this task. That means that in order to get a high score, 7 or higher, you do have to write at least 250 words. They will count your words, okay? So the IELTS markers do actually count how many words you have in your essay, and if it's less than 250, then you get a minus point for incomplete task, okay? So even if you have the introduction, body paragraphs, and the conclusion, if it's less than 250 words, you cannot get as high of a mark as if it's more than 250. So your goal should be between 280 and 300 words, okay? So keep that in mind. Your goal for task 2 is 280 to 300, let's say 20 words, okay? If you're writing too much, that's not good either. So if you're writing 400, 450 words, unless you're an English teacher and you have a lot of experience and you can write very quickly and very well, which is usually not the case, you shouldn't write more than about 320, 330 words. Remember, quality is more important than quantity, okay? So quality is more important than quantity. All right, you have to keep that in mind. When you're at home practicing, count your words, make sure you reach the 250 word minimum, but also check the quality of your work. Okay, so check to see if it's good. You can do that by sending us your essay. We will tell you if the quality is good or not. Okay, and we do give you a free score. So if you guys don't need a correction or you're not interested in editing and you don't want to pay for that, just email us your essay and we'll give you a free score estimate. We'll tell you if it's a 5, a 6, a 7 or more, okay? So make sure you have quality in your essay, okay? It's better to write 220 words that are high quality than 320 words that are low quality. So an essay that's 220 words high quality can still get a 6.5, maybe a 7 if it's very nicely written. But an essay that's 320 words, difficult to understand, disorganized, lots of grammar, spelling mistakes, you can get a 4 or a 5, okay? All right. Yes, Amrinder, an, the articles are counted as a word. Now, be very careful. Sometimes I see students using way too many an, and the in their essays. And yes, your word count goes up, but the quality goes down. So that's a good example of where quality is more important than quantity, okay? Only use articles if they're actually needed. Don't just use them before every noun, okay? All right, so my step number 1 is I look at the question. What's my step number 2? So what can I do, especially if I'm practicing this at home, but it's good to do this on the IELTS as well. So I looked at the question, and then what do I do? Anyone? What should I do? Handwriting is important, Tarun Krishna. Absolutely, it has to be clear. Yeah, Raya says identify the topic. You can do that. That can be your first step, is identifying the topic and the controlling idea. But it's probably better, what Amrita is saying, is just paraphrase the question. There's a very important couple of reasons for that. Does anybody know why it's good to paraphrase the question first? And this is not a part of your essay, okay? Paraphrasing the question is not a part of your essay in the beginning as the first step. Okay? Why should I just paraphrase the question before I begin writing the essay? And of course, you can use it in the essay later on, but this is in your planning, okay? When you're in the IELTS and you're doing task 2, you have a sheet, you have an extra piece of paper where you can make some notes and you can write down some ideas before you write your essay. It's very, very important that you do that, okay? Don't just start writing. One of the big mistakes students make is they just start writing because they think that 40 minutes is not enough time. In fact, if you just start writing, then your essay will be less organized and you will be writing much slower, because if you're thinking step by step or step after step, it's not an effective method of explaining a complete idea, okay? So Kaleem says paraphrasing is important to get some key words. Syed says to understand the question. Nargiza agrees with Syed. Absolutely. So paraphrasing will help you understand and will help you collect key words that you can use in your essay. So paraphrase the question before you begin writing. This will help you understand the question and collect key vocabulary and grammar, in fact. Absolutely. So paraphrasing the question on your note paper is a really, really good idea. The number one mistake in IELTS Task 2 writing, it's the same mistake in IELTS Speaking Part 2, is students misunderstand the question, they don't pay enough attention to the questions, and then they talk about something that's close but not the same, or even something that's completely off topic. If you're not writing about the exact right topic and controlling idea, it is almost impossible to get a good score on the IELTS, okay? You might get a 6 if you've written an extremely good essay that's kind of close, but they can't give you a high score because they don't know if it's just a memorized piece of work with a similar topic, okay? So you have to identify the question and what it's asking very, very clearly. All right, can some of you try to paraphrase this question for me? So some companies donate money to the arts while others prefer to give money for helping the environment. Which do you think is better and why? So can you please paraphrase this for me as best as you can? Okay. Now make sure to use synonyms, antonym negatives, use grammar, use descriptive paraphrasing, use expressions. So whatever you can to change this into a different wording while keeping the same information. So make sure you keep the same information. It's very important here that you keep the same information and that you keep all of the information, okay? So when you're paraphrasing, make sure you have that, okay? Keep the same information and all the information while using different words. Okay, that's really important. So make sure you don't accidentally cut out some of this information. All right, so let's go back to that question. Some companies donate money to the arts while others prefer to give money for helping the environment. Which do you think is better and why? Okay, I'm looking for some good paraphrasing here. Char and meat, I will explain more about the controlling idea in a second because that's going to be step 2 in our planning. All right, so we'll get a little bit more into that in a moment here. So I just want to give you a chance to paraphrase this question, okay? Collect some useful vocabulary for writing this essay. You definitely don't want to keep repeating the word arts all throughout the essay, or you don't want to keep repeating the word environment or donate or helping, okay? You want to use different words for these key words here, or key vocabulary in order to push up your lexical resource score. Hi, Madhu. Nice to see you in class. Happy you're joining. Right in the right time here still. We're just getting into it. Contribute is absolutely a good synonym. I think that will work. N1R2M3K5. Happy. Quite the alias. Yeah, you can use contribute, sure. Maria says, few corporations help to develop arts. Develop is not a good synonym there, Maria. You'd want to choose something different. So few corporations help to develop arts while others invest their money for green and safe environment. It's a little bit awkward, but it's a good try. Amrita says there are a couple of companies who contribute their money to the arts while others favor to provide their money for helping the environment. Somebody tried to paraphrase environment in a different way, but that was a good one. Ashish says few organizations give charity to the arts. On the other hand, some give priority to donate money for conserving the environment, or simply you can just say conservation. Use it as a noun, and that often includes the idea of the environment. Char Meat says many companies are giving money to arts while others while on the other hand, companies prefer to contribute for helping the environment. Yeah, that's good too. You're on the right track. Okay, let's take a couple more. Ardian, several corporations spend money to the arts while others more likely spend money to help the environment. That's good as well because giving or donating is spending money. Safa, sometimes corporates use money for the arts while sometimes they give money to other social aspects. Social aspects is not really synonymous with environment. So think of something else there. I'm surprised nobody's used the word nature. Okay, nature would be a little bit, oh, there's nature. I just saw it from Khaled. Good. Okay, so I'll take one of those, or I'll take a combination of those. So certain businesses give charity for the arts. On the other hand, some corporations assist by paying money to conserve nature. And can anybody paraphrase this second part? Which do you think is better and why? Can somebody paraphrase which do you think is why? Again, that's what I mean. Don't miss any part of the question. This is still a part of the question. And a lot of times the mistake that students make is they actually miss the right idea about this part of the question because they think, hey, I've seen all of these at home when I'm practicing. I know what it's asking me. Don't be so quick to make that assumption. I definitely suggest paraphrasing the full question. So which do you think is better and why? Because this is a specific kind of question asking you better and why. So can somebody paraphrase this one? Okay. It's actually a very, very good idea to paraphrase the question specific, so the type of question that it is. Okay, so Amar says, which do you believe is worse and why? No, it's not worse, it's better, so don't take the antonym there. Which of these forms of charity is understandable and more helpful? Amrita, that's quite good, okay? Which is more helpful is a good way to think about that, okay? Which is better and why? What do you prefer? What do you prefer is quite close, Marina, but it's not exact. It's quite close, though. Instead of prefer, I would think of a different word that begins with the B, okay? So I would think about another synonym for better. There's one that's closer. So what's the word that I'm thinking of here? What is this word? So I would paraphrase it like this. Which of these do you believe is more... That's right, Raya. There you go. Now you guys are jumping on the right train. Which of these do you believe is more beneficial? And by getting that word and the reasons for it. Okay, instead of why. Okay, so now I've done that. I've done the paraphrasing. I have a little bit more clarity around what this question is actually asking me. I've realized that I'm concentrating on one side here, so you should realize that when you have this type of question, you do not write a lot about the opposite side, but you write mostly about the side that you choose and you give some points for it. So for this kind of question, keep this in mind. Question, choose one side and give a couple of strong, distinct points to support it. Okay. Now, distinct is important here, so make sure that your points are clearly different. Make sure you're not writing 2 points that are kind of the same. Often students do that. Often students will choose 2 points, and the 2 points are kind of the same. So they'll say, I choose the environment because that's where we live. and then the other one, they say environment is necessary for society. Well, environment is where we live, and that's what's necessary for society. Is not two distinct points. Those 2 points are basically the same point. So that will make it very difficult to write your body paragraphs. So it's really important that your points in an essay are distinct. Does everybody understand what I mean by distinct? Is everybody clear on the meaning of distinct here and why I'm emphasizing this? Just throw up a couple of yeses or nos if you're sure or if you're not sure. Okay, Raya says she understands. Rajveer says, or somebody there said no, couple of no's, couple of yeses. Distinct means that your points are not overlapping, so they're not basically touching each other. You're not basically using synonyms for 2 points, okay? When we get to the thesis statement, I'll come back to it, and then I will show you again what 2 distinct points mean. So when we write the thesis statement, for those of you who aren't clear about this, it will be better. Yeah, Prishma just used a good word there. He means they're exclusive. They're not mutual. They're not inclusive. Okay, so that's what it means to be distinct. A very common mistake in essays, including college and university, is students write inclusive points or non-distinct points in their thesis statements. Okay, so be sure that you're practicing distinct points at home. All right. Okay, so let's go to the second step. So that was step 1. Step 1 was to paraphrase the question. We were jumping ahead a little bit there. Let's go to step 2. Some of you already said this. So step 2 is identify the topic and the controlling idea. And of course, those of you who are watching these lessons regularly know this. And if you're following our courses correctly, step by step at aehelp.com in your full course, and at gieltshelp.com, then you definitely should have learned in your essay writing, in your writing section, the importance of the topic and the controlling idea. Okay? So here, what is the topic? Can some of you tell me what the topic is in this question? And again, the question is in your stream description if you don't see it on the board. So you can always see it there. What are we talking about here? We're talking about donating money, okay? Sure. And more specifically, donating by companies, okay? So I saw one of you catch that full topic here. Okay, so in this case, the topic is a little bit more detailed than just donations. It's donations by companies, okay? That's an important part of this topic, companies. It's not an individual. It's not a different organization, like a volunteer organization. It's a company, okay? It's a business. So donations by companies or company charity, okay? That's the topic here, all right? All right, now we go to the controlling idea, and you'll see why that's so important, that business is a key part of the topic here. So the topic is the company and the donation of that company. The donation is a little bit of part of the controlling idea as well, but here the best way to think about the topic is donations by companies, okay? All right, what's the controlling idea? What is the controlling idea here? And that should be quite simple because it's usually the comparison. So hopefully you will get this very quickly. Enterprises are a loose paraphrase of companies. I really should learn to read Cyrillic so I can get these names from people who are joining us from Slavic-speaking countries, and I apologize for that. Enterprises are more general than companies. So Hadil says arts or the environment. Yeah. Okay, so I've done that. What do I do next? So some students who study with me regularly, give us a little bit of help here. I've gotten my topic, I've gotten my controlling idea. What should I do next? And this is still in the planning. Now, your planning, by the way, for task 2, shouldn't take more than 5 minutes, okay? You should have at least 35 minutes to write. By spending 5 minutes on planning, you will actually save time in the writing because you'll be much more organized, you'll have many more ideas, and you'll be able to write much more quickly. Okay, so Hadil says, apply some critical thinking. You're absolutely right, Hadil. I know you're joining these classes frequently, and it shows because you're getting the right ideas. So apply critical thinking, okay? So step 3, apply critical thinking to the topic and controlling idea. So ask what, why, how. Right. So what are donations by companies? Now, that's an interesting question. So here I'm going to show you how you can push your score to a very high level, to a level 8 or a level 9. Somebody asked me in the beginning, how can I get a score 8? Well, this is one of the key steps that you need to take in order to get 8. Okay, so I have a couple of people saying it's money. Try to be a little bit more detailed than that, okay? I want you to visualize, so I want you to see that you are the owner of a company, of a large company like Microsoft or Apple, and you're going to make a donation. Be a little bit more specific about what you're actually doing. You're not just simply giving money. What are you giving? So let me ask you this, how much money? How much money are you giving for charity? Are you giving like $5 or $10 or maybe like $2, $3 like in Super Chat here on the channel? I'll do a little plug for the Super Chat on that one. So are you just giving a couple of dollars here and there like an individual in Super Chat? Kaushal says 10 million, okay? Or... Or you can say it another way, lots of money, right? Millions of dollars, thousands and thousands or millions of dollars, right? Now, our companies, so again, I want you to be a critical thinker. I want you to think about this in a detailed way. I want you to imagine that you are the company. So be a little bit more specific. You're giving a large amount of money, right? And how often? Are you giving money just once a day, or are you giving, or once a year, or are you giving money more regularly? So how often do you give money if you're a company? Usually. Okay, Amar says annually, right? So there's some kind of a regularity, some kind of a reoccurrence. So it happens again and again and again. You're giving it quarterly, you're giving it semi-annually, monthly, weekly, right? Of course, so it's different than when an individual gives money. This question is asking you, companies are donating money, not just donations, okay? That's why I said that the topic is donations by companies. So donations are large sums of money given regularly, okay? So thousands and millions of dollars. Absolutely. If you know about the Bill Gates Foundation or the Gates Foundation, it's also his wife's, that's their money, of course, but it is basically a type of company donations because it's thanks to Microsoft that they're able to do that. So, and obviously we know that they give massive amounts of money. So large sums of money given regularly, thousands of millions of dollars, okay? So that's what donations by companies are. And once you practice your critical thinking, that's the level that you can reach with your planning so that you can write much more powerful essays. So why? Why do companies give money? This is a good question for this essay. Can anybody give me some answers? Again, writing these answers in your chat, you're practicing your English, you're practicing your writing, your vocabulary. So I encourage all of you, don't be shy. Definitely try to throw something out there. Don't worry about making mistakes. That's why I'm here. So it's a tax benefit, yeah. It's not necessarily a tax exemption. I guess that's one way to look at it, but it's a tax benefit, sure. Okay, is that the only reason? Social improvement, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Promotion, I agree, Krishna, yeah. Advertising. Promotion is also connected to reputation. Any other reason? Paying back the community. Too much cash. Yeah, perhaps, Ardian, but I don't think that's the main reason. Some of you probably know, especially if some of you are watching from Saudi Arabia, you know that companies like Aramco give a lot of money to the environment. Why would a company like Aramco give a lot of money for the environment? I haven't seen this one yet, and it's definitely a good one to think about for this topic. Obligation is one, social responsibility is another, but there's a word. Okay, so Kaushal says because they harm the environment, right? Oil harms the environment, and there are, of course, companies that have a lot of waste and that damage the environment, so they feel that there's an ethical responsibility to repair damage, right? So that's a good one to think about when you are okay, so repair damage done by the company. Okay, that's a good one to think about if you have this question. If you are able to think about that, then you are definitely on a better track to get a good score, a band level 7, 8, 9 for your response, okay? So how do companies do this? How do companies donate money? Well, they choose a charity and then they write a check in many cases. So choose a charity or build one and give money. Okay, so you don't need to think about that one too much. It's quite clear how companies take that step. Okay, now this is a key one here. So we know what the arts are. Okay, somebody actually asked me that, so I'll put it up there. So what is art? Art can be anything that is classed as art. It can be music, painting, theater. So there are many forms of art, right? Now, why art? Why would we donate money to art? That's the important question here. Dance would be one, Sai Baba, absolutely. So that would be classed as art. There are a lot of different types of arts. So you can think about all of those. And why would we give money to the arts? Or better said, why would a company give money to the arts? Sayed, if you want to see the question, if that's what you're asking me, it is in the stream description. To improve people's brain. Because art lacks money. Yeah, art is often short on money. Yeah, so okay, so art industry lacks finance. Definitely, it is a great way for publicity. And also, of course, it's social development. Okay, so those are all reasons how they simply give the money. Okay. So they give money to a choice of their art institution. All right, let's keep going here. I don't want to get too stuck up on the planning, although it is, as I said, very important. What is the environment? So what is the environment? Let's jump to that one. Yeah, public morale. I just saw somebody say something similar to that. Which is making people happy. Sure. Entertainment's a great way to do that. So what is the environment? So the environment is nature. Okay, that's a good synonym, but what is it? What is nature? Trees, river, air, atmosphere. Okay, now I'm seeing some good answers coming up, you should be thinking of the three main ones. I haven't seen anybody list the three key categories of Mother Earth. So for humans, and think about this for pollution. I know that a lot of IELTS questions are around pollution. So this kind of pollution, that kind of pollution. So what are the three different kinds of pollution? Okay, I see a couple of them. There we go. Lytton just threw it out there. Water, land, and air. Okay, nature. Water, land, air, and all of the organisms contained in these. Okay, sure. Yeah, so that includes trees, animals, and so on, right? Is all a part of nature, including humans, of course. Don't forget humans are nature as well. So the key three ones here, if you're using some good critical thinking, is nature is water, land, and air. And when you have questions about pollution, you should also think about that. A lot of IELTS Task 2 questions will ask you about pollution. So think about water pollution, air pollution, land pollution. Of course, there's a couple other ones like noise and light pollution these days as well. Okay, so why would we give money to the environment? Why give money to the environment? So why should a company donate money to the environment? All right. So we're moving through this quickly. Again, ideally in the real world, in the real official IELTS exam, you're only taking about 5 minutes for this whole process that I'm showing you right now in about 30, 40 minutes. To protect it, because it's a part of our life, to conserve the environment, to keep the environment clean, to fight pollution, to save nature, to improve ecosystems. Nazrin had a very good answer there. For the future of humanity, to keep surroundings clean and to sustain life on Earth as humans. I'd like to throw up a beautiful quote here that I think is very important for all of us to remember when we live our lives. I can't remember who said this originally, but remember this. We do not inherit the earth from our parents. We borrow it from our children. Okay? And probably some of you are familiar with this famous and wise saying, we do not inherit the earth from our parents, we borrow it from our children. And for those of you who have children are probably thinking about this more and more, right? So we protect the environment not just to live a healthier, cleaner, more enjoyable life, but also it is to ensure that we have something to give to our children and that we safeguard the continuity of humanity, of Mother Earth, and of everything that's contained within it. Now, you can probably guess, if you haven't so far known, that I am Canadian, and we definitely try to, most of us try to invest a lot of effort into this, as we have one of the largest and most beautiful countries in the world with a lot of nature. So that's why the environment. All right. How? So how do we donate to the environment? By giving money for cleanup, conservation, rebuilding. Okay, so there are lots of ways that we can donate money, or businesses can donate money, companies can donate money for the environment. So rebuilding and, of course, education even, okay? So that's how we do it. All right, so here, again, let's just jump back real quick to the original question. Some companies donate money to the arts, while others prefer to give money for helping the environment. Which do you think is better and why? Now, we did our step one. We paraphrased the question to make sure that we understand it. We collected some key pieces of information there. Then we did our step 2. We identified the topic and the controlling idea. Topic is donation by companies, and then the controlling ideas. And then we did our critical thinking, what, why, how. All right? Now, of course, once you do this, you should have more clarity on which side to choose and which side will be easier to write about. So after good planning and critical thinking, it should be easier, I'm going to actually say it is easier, to decide which side to choose and which side, or I should say at the same time, because it's the same thing here, which side is easier. Okay? So, I'll throw it out to everyone who's watching. Which side do you think for these two, arts or the environment, which do you think is the more clear answer and easier to write about? Okay. Shabazz says both are good, but definitely mostly the environment. Hadil says the environment. Rice says the environment. Timothy says environment. So most of you are coming up with the correct answer. Obviously here everybody's throwing up environment. Yeah, in this question, definitely I would agree that writing about the environment is your easier choice. It is going to be the better choice. It's the more logical choice. If you ask most people, if they had to choose, most people would probably agree that it is the environment, okay? Now, Marina says it depends, and there is truth to that, Marina. I agree with you that you can say that it depends. However, the IELTS is not the place to make your stand, okay? So if you're an artist, I respect you, and it's wonderful what you give to society, and your creativity is truly appreciated. However, don't make your stand during the IELTS, okay? It would be more difficult here, and your goal is to get a good score on the IELTS, to get at least a band 7 or 8, so that you can get to the country that you're going to, or you can get into the university that you're going to. Once you're in that country, once you're in that university, and you're continuing your art career, then you can make a stand that arts are very important to donate to, okay? But don't make a stand in IELTS, okay? So don't do that in the writing and don't do that in the speaking. It's not the right place. Remember what your goal is, okay? The goal in your IELTS is to get a high score. So even if you don't think that environment is the better choice because you're an artist, I would still say it's the easier choice. Choose that one to make sure that you can get 7 or 8, okay? All right, so our answer here is the environment. Okay. Okay, so now we can jump to the introduction. And the introduction, of course, has 3 parts. It starts with the hook. The hook is very important. You'll notice that many of the reading passages in IELTS also include hooks. So obviously, it is considered an important part of good writing. Can somebody give me a good hook for this question? Again, the question is in your stream description. Now remember, the hook should be connected to the topic. Okay, so it's an interesting, simple, and global statement. Don't go partial, PS Studio. You should never go partial. Partial responses usually get low scores, okay? So don't go partial. Don't go, I think both are. The question is asking you, which do you think is better? You have to say better. It's a relative, okay? You have to say one is better than the other. Please do not go partial. That is an off-topic answer, okay? So probably don't want to put too much about the environment into this part here. The hook is like a fishing hook, an interesting global statement that introduces the topic and catches the reader's attention, okay? And gets you focused on what you need to do, all right? That's what the hook is. So make sure you don't make a mistake in the hook. Some students, what they do is they write a very long sentence for the hook, and it has grammar and vocabulary mistakes in there, spelling mistakes. That looks really bad, okay? It looks really bad if your first sentence has mistakes. immediately your score starts to go down. So it's important that you practice writing a simple, clear, short hook. Okay? Hadil says, it is common for companies to donate a part of their benefits to charity around the world. Hadil, excellent. That's a great hook. Okay? Amrita says, while it is debatable, it's very long, Amrita. That's my first worry. While it's the debatable thing is definitely a word you don't want to use in your essay. To choose between arts and the environments, the more compelling problem these days. You're more into the thesis, okay? You have to learn what that hook is. If there is no hook, Syed, it's easier to go off topic, and your essay is less powerful. So even though it's not demanded in the IELTS, it is a good idea, all right? So if there's no hook, there's a lower chance that you get a high score. Rashni says, healthy environment makes wealthy of people lead to happiness. No, Rashni, that's a controlling idea, the environment. Stick to the topic. So that's why we want to stick to companies and donations here. So Hadil had the best idea so far for the hook. Gori, yes, that's a different type of question. In that case, you can go partial, although you don't have to. It's still often better to just support one side. The introduction, Manpreet, can be anywhere from 40 to 60 words, so it's quite flexible depending on the question. Yep, Ashish has another good hook, so that's the second good hook that I see. Many companies reinvest some of their revenue into charities and donations. Absolutely, just finish that sentence, Ashish, with charities or donations, and that's a good hook, okay? In the modern era, companies are paying money for arts and environments to make a strong future. Yeah, that's an okay hook, Shabazz. I think you're going a little bit too far into the controlling idea, but it's still acceptable. I would still say if I were marking your essay and you started with that, I would still say that that's an okay hook. All right? How about this one? So... Okay, the massive donations made by companies regularly are a crucial part of modern society, all right? So right away, I say that it is important that companies are donating money, okay? The sentence is quite simple. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 words. So anything under 15 words is usually considered a fairly simple sentence, okay? So the chance of making a mistake is much lower, and it's a very global statement, okay? It includes our topic, donations made by companies, okay? So the massive donations made by companies regularly are a crucial part of modern society. Right. Okay, now what comes after? So this is just a quick kind of test or mini quiz question for the students watching regularly. What comes after the hook for the introduction? That's right, it's the background. Okay, now let's use the planning, right? So you should probably see that this first hook that I gave here is actually coming from my planning. So notice here when we talked about the topic and we did our critical thinking, so donations by companies is the topic, and we said what are donations? We say large sums of money given regularly, thousands and millions of dollars. So I actually used that for my hook, right? I said the massive donations made by companies regularly are a crucial part of modern society, right? So I used my planning to create my hook. Now I should do the same for my background. Which question should I use to help me write my background. So which of these questions in my planning, and which of my answers, of course, should I use to help my essay? Can somebody tell me that? I only see one right answer so far. The why, right? The background is often here the why for the topic. So why do the companies give money for charities? Thank you so much for that super chat donation. I'm sorry I can't read your name because I don't understand that text, or I don't know that text, but I really, really appreciate it. That's great. You're awesome. Thank you for that. Okay. So again, here, you were focusing on the why question for that one, and you can focus on the what question. So some of you who said what, you can focus on the what question for the environment and the arts as well, okay? Davinderjeet. Thank you, Davinderjeet. I appreciate your super chat donation. That's really cool of you. It's definitely a motivation to keep these kinds of lessons going, and also we do use that money to develop new materials and so on, okay? All right. Have an awesome rest of your day, PS Studio. Make sure you catch up on the lesson, or the example at least, later on from the YouTube channel. Of course, these live streams are recorded and they're uploaded to the YouTube channel, so about an hour after they're done, so you can review them at that time. All right, so I'm going to use the why and the what from the controlling sentence, the why from the topic. Okay, so here we go. Background. Companies have social and moral obligations to develop and repair nature and society from which they draw their resources. Some institutions, some corporations, let's say that, choose to give money for the environment while others support the arts. Okay, good. So that's enough for the background. Now, as some of you have said, this thesis is what should be included into the introduction. Okay, so the thesis. Now, we chose for the thesis to side with the environment. Okay, so we said that the environment is more important. Why is the environment more important? So why is the environment more important? What are two good points? And can somebody write a nice full thesis with that? Yes, you can say they drain resources from nature and society, Andrea. Absolutely. Drain is a correct word to use there. The background, Khan, is yes, it's partially a paraphrase of the topic, and it's also including the reason of why why it's important. So why the question is important. Okay, so here we can get that this question is important because companies draw from nature and from society, right? So they use those as their resources, right? They use up the environment, they use up society, so they need to give back, and so that they can keep their function and their loop going, okay? All right, so the thesis. Somebody give me a nice, full, clear thesis here. The thesis is the most important part of your essay. It will either make or break your essay. Okay, will either make or break your essay. If you have a good thesis, you have a good essay, or you're on road for a good essay. If you have a bad thesis, you're on the way for a bad, painful essay and writing experience and a low IELTS score. So if you do not know how to write a good thesis, please, please, please go to our website, aehelp.com or gieltshelp.com, open up the writing section of the course. It's in the free and full course. And please look at the thesis and how to write a good thesis, okay? Super, super, super important, okay? So nature is vital for us because one reason is to clear pollution. Sure, we need to protect nature, absolutely. So why is nature important? What are two good reasons why companies should donate to the environment? Okay, so one reason is because we're damaging it, so we want to repair damages. Yeah. Global warming. I'm just looking for two clear points, guys. I know a lot of you can say one point, but I would like you to write a good thesis that includes both points. So let me start it off for you. In my opinion, both donations for arts and the environment are important, but giving money for nature is more beneficial because. Okay, so somebody please finish my sentence, okay? So finish this thesis statement. In my opinion, both donations for arts and the environment are important, but giving money for nature is more beneficial because. So somebody please finish my thesis. So why is it more beneficial? Two clear points here. Yeah, it's crucial for life. Okay, sure. So that's one. So, in my opinion, both donations for arts and the environment are important, but giving money for nature is more beneficial because it is vital to sustain life. And what's another one? So give me a clearly different point here. Give me a distinct second point for the thesis for my body paragraph. Okay, I'm seeing very similar answers. Those are all related to vital to life. And this is what I said for clearly distinct points. Clearly distinct points. Okay, so it is vital for life and okay, I'm going to show you what would be a level 9 answer for your second point. So for nature, it is more beneficial because it is vital to sustain life and inspiration. Okay, so it's difficult to create good, clear, distinct points for some topics. This is why you have to practice this at home, okay? So I said it is vital to sustain life and inspiration. Does anybody know what the word inspiration means? Anybody know the meaning of inspiration? What does it mean? What am I referring to here? Yeah, motivation or encouragement, right? A source of courage, absolutely. And that can be distinctly different from just simply sustaining life, okay? So that's what we're going to use for our body paragraphs. Now, let's get into body paragraph 1. And I'm going to speed up here a little bit. So the first is the topic sentence. The topic sentence comes from the first point of my thesis, okay? So this is my first point, so sustaining life is my first point. That's going to be my first body paragraph. And sustaining inspiration is my second point. So that will be my second body paragraph, okay? So for my topic sentence, I'm going to use vital to sustain life and explain that in a more descriptive sentence for my topic sentence. So something like this. All living organisms depend on nature for sustenance, food, and shelter. Okay? The natural, okay, and then after that comes the explanation. And the explanation can be something like this. The natural world is filled with intricate and interconnected ecosystems that live in a harmonious balance. When companies pollute and destroy these ecosystems, the result is death. Therefore, it is ethically and let's just keep it ethically. Therefore, it is ethically critical for such companies to rebuild and protect these resources, these natural resources, such as clean air, water, and land, to ensure the continuity of life. Okay, so here, I know I'm speeding up here, but I'm just trying to get a nice flow going for your thinking here. So the topic sentence and then the explanation here. The explanation goes into details. I realize I'm using higher level vocabulary and grammar here. That's because I'm pushing you to learn. I don't want you to have the same experience every time with these task 2s. So here I'm pushing you a little bit. Now comes the example, and I'll leave that one to you, okay? So I gave you the explanation, but I'm leaving the example up to you. Can somebody give me a nice, specific, visible example? Yes, University Duzmani. Live 20%, live 20, don't put the percent sign, just put live 20. That code is available now if you are purchasing the full course. Make sure you choose the right one. AE Help for academic IELTS, GIELTShelp.com for general, okay? And live 20, click on the apply coupon code, just put in LIVE 20. And then that will work, okay? So please, somebody give me a nice example here, a nice, visible, measurable example from your own experiences, okay? From your own knowledge. All right, so I'll give you a second here. I think that for students, the topic sentence, when you practice, becomes quite easy, and the explanations, usually most students don't have problems with that. What I find is that many students often have difficulty writing a good example. So that's why I want you to give me a good example, okay? Kaleem, if you want to use the Bill Gates charity and some example of how they donate money to protect the environment and the reason for it, that's good. Just make sure you write a full sentence. Prosalpha, I would write it like this. It's a good try, but I would write it like this. Exemplary for this. Instead of exemplified to that, that's a little bit awkward. Please write exemplary for this is Google, which donated a large amount of their profits to not an orphanage. An orphanage is not environment. An orphanage is it's a social donation. So don't go off topic. Okay? Make sure that your example has to do with donating money for the environment, preferably by a company that damages the environment. So Amar Wadi says, companies which get rid of their waste in rivers. Okay, don't just give me a general company, Amar Wadi. Give me a specific company. So just name a company. Give me the name of a company that gets rid of wastes in rivers. If you don't know the name of one, make it up. It's okay. And give me a specific example. Hike, give me the name of an agricultural company. I definitely know one that most of you also probably know. You can probably guess which one I'm thinking of. Monsanto. Monsanto is probably the largest agricultural company in the world. Definitely causes a lot of damage. Okay, so I'm still looking for a good example. Cement factories, you still need to go with something specific. Okay, let's use Aramco. So for instance, Aramco, a large international oil company, of course I know it's based out of Saudi Arabia, but it is the American Arabic oil company, donates millions of dollars every year for cleaning up oil spills and preserving nature to make up for the damage caused by its rigs. Okay, oil rigs, if I want to be a little bit more clear there. And that's good. Okay, it's specific. I'm using millions of dollars. It's quantifiable. And if I want to be even more specific, I could go into where it gives its donations, okay, or creating nature preserves in the deserts of Saudi Arabia, etc. But this is good enough. This would be considered a good example. For instance, Aramco, a large international oil company, donates millions of dollars every year for cleaning up oil spills and preserving nature to make up for the damage caused by its oil rigs. Okay, petroleum rigs would be fine as well, char and meat. Okay, that would be considered a good type of example for task 2. Now, connecting, concluding sentence is the last part of the body paragraph. What would be a good connecting or concluding sentence here? And please keep in mind the original question, okay? For some of you students who are joining right now, I'll jump back to that. Definitely for the connecting or concluding sentence, it's a good idea to look at the original question. The original question says, some companies donate money to the arts while others prefer to give money for helping the environment. Which do you think is better and why? A lot of students, they only read the question once and then they write their whole essay. One really good strategy is please look back at the original question a couple times to make sure that you're still on task and you're writing good information and good sentences. Okay? So this is an important strategy for you, okay? This is new, even for those students who watch the classes regularly, okay? So, important task 2 strategy. Remember to look back at the original task 2 question at least a few times during your writing. For example, once a paragraph. It will help you stay on point and write effective sentences or effective ideas, okay? So an important strategy for you is don't just look at the question once, keep looking back at it, okay? Yeah, that's absolutely right. That the comment that just came up, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Was it Buharanijit? It's a tricky name for me, Indian names, because they're so long. But yes, you have the right connecting sentence. Therefore, I think donating to the environment is better than donating to the arts, okay? So that would be my connecting or concluding sentence there. This is one of two reasons why I believe that donating to the environment supersedes giving money to the arts. Okay? So that would be my connecting sentence. This is one of two reasons why I believe that donating to the environment supersedes giving money to the arts. Here's a nice piece of vocabulary for you. Supersedes. It means it takes a higher priority. Okay? Supersedes means takes a higher priority. Okay? All right. So now we get into our second body paragraph, so body paragraph 2. And body paragraph 2, of course, starts off with a topic sentence as well. Now, for those of you who weren't here for the introduction, our second body paragraph, of course, is coming from our second point, inspiration. So in my opinion, both donations for arts and the environment are important, but giving money for nature is more beneficial because it is vital to sustain life and inspiration. All right? So here, I'm going to create a topic sentence that gives a little bit of a deeper definition for the second point, which is inspiration. So here we go. In addition, the nature that surrounds us is the motivation for people to achieve greatness in life. Okay, so this is my topic sentence. In addition, the nature that surrounds us is the motivation to achieve greatness in life. I bet you grammar's telling me which is better here, but that would work also. Let's see. Oops. Missing the S. That's why. All right. In addition, the nature which surrounds us is the motivation for people to achieve greatness in life. Okay? So I'm going to stop there for this first lesson, and I'm going to challenge you. Okay? I'm actually going to give you a little bit of work to do. So I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. I usually don't do this, but for those of you who want to impress me and, of course, improve your IELTS score, finish this essay and send it to admin@aehelp.com. Okay? And what we will do on our side is we will look at your end of the essay and give you our opinion of how you did with your explanation, example, and conclusion paragraph. So again, I want to teach you how to fish, and I don't just want to give you fish. I know that you're getting a lot from these examples and the vocabulary and so on, but my goal here is also to encourage you to practice and develop your skills, and for that, it is very important that you are putting these strategies and steps in place at home. So please write the rest of the essay, finish this essay, send it to admin@aehelp.com, and I will tell you how you did and what band score you would get for that part of the essay, okay? So finish the body paragraph 2, finish the conclusion, send it to us at admin@aehelp.com, and I will, and my partners will, mark those essays and send you an email back and let you know how you did. That way you know your level, and then you know how much time you have to invest into improving to get the score that you need. As I promised at the beginning of the class, I'd like to give you a couple of minutes now to ask me some questions about Task 2 and writing. So does anybody have any IELTS Task 2 questions? Even Task 1, it's okay if you ask me. It's fine. I'll answer those as well. I'll give you a couple of minutes to throw out your questions, your inquiries, what you're curious about or unsure about. So now's a good chance, all right? Again, this video will be live on our YouTube channel in about 1 hour, so you can go back, you can review this essay, and then when you have some time at home over the next couple of days, or hopefully within the next 24 hours while it's still fresh in your mind, finish the essay and send it to us, okay? So you're asking me, how should you manage time, all right? Time management is very important in the writing. They give you 1 hour for both tasks. They do not tell you when the 20 minutes is finished for task 1. So you need to practice that at home. Okay, you need to practice timing yourself for task 1. Make sure start to finish planning and writing is 20 minutes. Do task 1 first, always, and then do task 2. Your planning shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes, and your writing should take 35 minutes from start to finish. Okay. Usually it's a good idea to leave 1 or 2 minutes at the end of the writing so that you can check your work real quick. Okay? Sophia's saying, what can boost my score the most? That's an interesting question, Sophia. What boosts your score the most is making sure that you're writing about the topic and the controlling idea accurately and specifically. You have good structure in your essay, good coherence in your essay, good connection in your essay. So structure, coherence, and writing about the right information. That's what is the most important for boosting your score, okay? After that, of course, using grammar, vocabulary, and so on. All right. Rajveer says, do I need to pay more attention to vocabulary? Lexical resource is marked on IELTS for sure in the writing and speaking, but it is not absolutely crucial that you're using extremely difficult vocabulary. You can still get a very good score using everyday words as long as you have good organization, good information. Okay? If there's discuss both views, Prabesh, I've done some examples for discuss both views. Please check out our YouTube channel. You will find some task 2 examples or discuss both views. And also, if you girls and guys go to our website, and at the top of the website here, when you're logged into your My Student account, okay, so of course you need to log in first. You go to your My Student account, and just underneath the My Student account right here, there's a forum and there's a blog button. They're 2 smaller buttons. If you click on the blog button, okay, in the blog we have some really good information documents. The first one is IELTS vocabulary for high scores, and then if you keep going down, you'll find another one that is right here. It's IELTS Task 2 Writing, Question Types, Answer Strategies. So in this document, we talk about the different types of questions in IELTS Task 2, and we talk about what you need to do to be effective for each of these questions. So you click on the Read More. It's right there. You click on that Read More button, And then you get the full document, and you can get this in your free course, by the way, so even in your trial version of your course. And there are about 4 or 5 paragraphs here that talk about how IELTS Task 2 works. It's some good reading exercise, by the way. And then you can even see what students on our website wrote about this and their opinions on these and their questions. So you can get a lot of valuable information there about different types of Task 2 and the right strategy. Okay, so be sure to do that. All right, I do have some speaking lessons up on the YouTube channel. We already did speaking this week, so next week I will have more speaking lessons. But the second lesson today will be listening. So we're going to do listening part 1, part 2. That lesson will be in about 90 minutes at 3 p.m. my time, Central Europe, okay? So next week we'll have a live speaking. Until then, you can go on the channel and you can see speaking lessons as well as speaking interview examples, okay? So have a look at those speaking interview examples that are pre-recorded in HD, all right? Unknown says, how can I brainstorm ideas fast? Unknown, I'm not sure if you were here at the beginning of the lesson, but I just showed you that. So when you practice critical thinking and visualization, that's what you need to do for fast brainstorming. And also, I actually missed going into this, but thinking about the big picture and about the small picture. So our topic today was, should companies give money for the environment or for the arts? So what you can do to brainstorm quickly is think about a specific example of a big company like Aramco, and then think, okay, there's a company that's Aramco. Now Aramco obviously gives money to help a lot of different charities. Now what kind of money do they give and why do they give this money? So I'm thinking of a specific small example, and that gives me some bigger ideas. So that's a down-up type of processing. Another way to look at it is an up-down processing. So there are many companies in the world that give millions of dollars to clean up air pollution, land pollution, and water pollution. What are these kinds of companies? Well, BP Oil is one, the British oil company, which had a big oil spill in Mexico a few years ago. So obviously they are now hopefully giving a lot of money to help the world. All right, I can see that you guys are now full of information and you're ready to tackle this essay or the rest of this essay at home. So I will finish it up for now. Thanks again to those viewers. I'm not sure if you're still here, but thank you, Marina, and thank you. I'm sorry, you'll have to write your name up again, but it was a nice donation from India as well in our super chat. So I appreciate those donations. Those were very thoughtful and respectable of you. And I hope to see many of you again in 90 minutes or so. We'll go through listening practice. I'm not going to do too much talking. We'll just get right into the listening practice. Thank you, Marina. Again, I do appreciate that super chat donation, especially on the topic of donations. It's synonymous with the Task 2 question. And hopefully see you in 90 minutes for the next class. Again, visit us on our websites, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS, aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Live 20 will give you a 20% discount on those websites. And it's been a lot of fun teaching you. I know some of you have some speaking exams coming up tomorrow, so good luck with that. Make sure you speak English only for 30 minutes before you walk into your speaking interview. It will help your score go up by like a band score, so please do that, okay? All right. Much love to everyone. Hopefully see you in 90 minutes. If not, it's okay. Subscribe to the channel. You can always catch up there. See you in a bit for the listening lesson. Bye for now.